Judge Cosby is charged with aggravated indecent assault. This is a felony of the first degree. Charges today are filed as a result of new information that came to light in July of 2015. Our team reviewed the initial investigation, re-interviewed some of the witnesses, examined evidence from the civil case, and information from other alleged victims. After examination of all the evidence, we are able to seek justice on behalf of the victim.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, the announcement that charges have been filed against Bill Cosby today in Pennsylvania for allegedly putting his hand down the pants of a woman in 2004 against her will. And this, of course, is the first case of its kind. We've had a slew of accusers of one sort or another, dating back, some of them, 30, 40 years. But this one is a little closer. And let's welcome in the panel Adam Thompson, senior partner at the law offices of Adam and Thompson and criminal defense attorney, syndicated talk show host, and Jim Hoft, conservative blogger. He's the head of the gatewaypundit.com. Gentlemen, welcome. Adam, you're an attorney. Let me go to you first. This is a reversal in circumstance here, because originally prosecutors did not bring charges in this case. And then with all the civil suits going on and the depositions that Cosby's participating in, they found some information apparently from his own mouth in one of these depositions that shed new light in this case, enabling them to pursue criminal charges.
Okay, so let's look at the big picture. Initially, if you assume the DA's office back in 2004 and 5, when these allegations were brought to them, did their due diligence and did their job properly, meaning they spoke to all witnesses, looked for all forensic evidence, and did a proper investigation, they would then have everything in front of them and make a decision to go forward or not. They publicly came out and said there was insufficient credible evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense is going to jump all over that because they're going to say they already went on record saying they didn't have evidence to really prove this case. But since then, attorneys representing this victim have filed a civil lawsuit, which in fact was settled in 2006. And part of that case, Cosby did give a deposition, and in that deposition said very damning things, including that he did get prescription drugs and or quaaludes and give them to women as part of these sexual acts. So now, this is new evidence that they didn't know at the time, and on top of it, you have all these new pending civil cases, so they're gathering new testimony from those cases, and now they're putting it all together to bring a case now.
Right.
But it does raise some questions 10 years after the fact. You got to ask yourself, why wasn't it done back in the day rather than now?
Right, and Jim, he was released on $1 million bail. He was arraigned. He showed up in court amidst the media circus and left almost 5 minutes after he entered the court. I mean, is this going to be, if there's actually a trial here, is this going to be the new trial of the century where all eyes are going to be on it and it's going to just be a media circus? And I mean, is it tough? Do you sense any kind of conflict here between a liberal media going after what has been a liberal icon up to this point?
I believe this will get dragged on throughout the next year or two. I think, though, that this will be very difficult for Hillary Clinton's campaign. The fact that Donald Trump is already bringing up some information about Bill Clinton, calling him the world's greatest abuser, and now you have someone like Bill Cosby in the news. How is Hillary Clinton going to reply to questions about this scandal? I think it's really going to hurt her campaign.
That's very interesting. All right, let's move on to another case real quickly here, the so-called affluenza punk, Ethan Couch and his mother. They, of course, here's what happened. About 3 years ago when he was 16, he was drunk, driving, and he killed 4 people, injured 9. They convinced the jury that he didn't know what he was doing because he was never taught right from wrong because he's so affluent. And he was sentenced to 10 years probation. Part of that, stay away from alcohol. A video emerged the other day or a few months ago that he was at a party with alcohol, and he and his mom ran to Mexico. They got caught, and now they're fighting extradition. What's their likelihood of succeeding in trying to stay in Mexico, Adam?
I don't see it happening. He'll eventually come back here, whether it takes a few days or a few weeks. He'll be brought back here. But from what I understand, based on what the previous sentence was, I think the maximum jail time he can face for violation of probation,
120 days.
Comes down to.
Yeah,
it's 120 days from what I understand. So it isn't like he's facing some huge charges.
Yeah.
Now the mother could be facing several years
Yes.
in charges.
2 to 10. I believe it's 2 to 10.
jurisdiction.
Yeah, 2 to 10, I believe. Very quickly,
Right.
Jim. This is a crazy case.
Right, and you can see the little monster dyed his hair brown so that he'd try to blend in, I guess, down where he's at. It's ridiculous that this guy ever got off with the charges and that the court let him off because he was too rich to know the difference.
That's insane. That's insane. All right, more on the Malzberg panel coming up. Don't go away. What do you think of Donald Trump?
I think he's great
Why?
because he's a showman. And we've never had a showman in the president's chair.
Well, you had Ronald Reagan. He was a bit of a show.
Well, that's different. That was, you can't make a comparison with Ronald Reagan because I can do 3 hours on him with just praise. He was so good.
Wow, I mean, we got much more on Jerry Lewis coming up in the Gimme 5 segment, folks, but wow, I mean, who knew that Jerry Lewis was apparently such a conservative? Rejoining us on the panel, Adam Thompson and Jim Hoft. And Jim, I was at thegatewaypundit.com, as I so often am, and there I found the interview with Jerry Lewis, and again, I said, wow, I got to make use of this.
It was a great interview, and he was right. Donald Trump is a showman. He entertains people. If you listen to him, he even has liberal media hosts laughing at some of his comments. So I think Lewis was right on that.
Yeah, and you know what, Adam? He in that interview, not only did he praise Trump in his own way and praise Reagan, who we could talk about for 3 hours. He was so great. I love that part. He also said that we need to be destroying ISIS, not reporting on what they're doing. He said, although you can't blame Obama wholly, he did say that he wasn't prepared for any of this and did blame him for that. He also said the refugees should stay where they are. So I was pleasantly surprised. Good thing he doesn't have to work anymore, because he probably wouldn't work in Hollywood anymore.
Well, I'm sure you won't be hearing this interview on a lot of liberal stations, but I hear they love it in France. So it's going over really big there. But I will say this. Listen, Jerry Lewis understands how to be a showman more than anybody, you know, with Lewis and Martin. And we haven't really had someone with the persona of a Donald Trump ever really run before and really have the possibility of getting elected. And Reagan is a different entity. So it will be interesting to see moving forward if we can keep the momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let me ask you guys about a prediction that Pat Buchanan made on the show earlier. And that prediction was that Hillary will back off this whole Donald Trump is a sexist, war on women kind of thing, because she realizes that it's a losing proposition, that she opened the door for Donald Trump by bringing Bill Clinton onto the campaign trail next week, calling Trump a sexist, and running as a champion of women when, as he put it, she was at least an enabler for Bill. So what do you say to that, Jim?
Talk about a sexist. She's bringing her husband on board to save her campaign. I mean, she's the sexist. She needs her husband to save her from Donald Trump. I think it's a lose-lose for Hillary. Trump really exposed the history that a lot of people haven't heard about or forgot about. It looks really bad for Bill Clinton right now.
Yeah, what about it, Mr. Lawyer Thompson?
I think Pat Buchanan's dead on. Listen, Roger Stone, one of the big aides to Trump, put out a book, Clinton's War on Women, and it details all the sexual allegations against Clinton over the years, and one of the biggest supporters of her husband in helping to get all these allegations thrown to the side and discredit the women was Hillary Clinton. So how do you attack Trump on issues involving women and sexism when she supported her husband so greatly all these years in defaming and discrediting other women with serious allegations?
It's going to be tough. I agree.
It's going to blow up big time.
I agree. Well, I agree with you guys. I don't know if I agree with Pat that she's going to back off, because I think it's almost impossible to back off. for her. She'd have to change the whole tone of the campaign and what she's all about, because the whole campaign is that she's a woman and she's the champion of women. Anyway, guys, happy, healthy Jim, Adam, and Jim, stay safe out there. I know our hearts and our prayers are with the people in Missouri and elsewhere where they're affected by the flooding. I know St. Louis isn't immune from that either where you are, so best of luck on that. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, Gavin McInnes at the end of the year here. If you ever suffer cardiac arrest outside of a hospital, you have just a 7% chance of survival. It's true and it's scary. In fact, heart disease kills more people than any other condition in the United States. Now, no one is more aware of this than world-renowned cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall. He's the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Simple Heart Cure. Now you can learn your heart risk and make sure you're not part of the 93% that don't survive a heart attack. You can take Dr. Crandall's free Simple Heart Test right now to see your heart risk. Just go to simplehearttest.com.
52-year-old male complaining of chest pains. Clear.
Heart attacks can happen at any time. My name is Dr. Crandall, and as a cardiologist, I tell my patients that they need to be aware of the hidden symptoms of a heart attack. If you suffer cardiac arrest outside of a hospital, you have just a 7% chance of surviving. That is why I've created the Simple Heart Test to help you determine your own risk of heart disease. You'll discover your risk of suffering a heart attack, how you score on my heart disease risk factor scale, plus the key warning signs your heart is in trouble. Over 2 million Americans have already taken my Simple Heart Test, and I urge you to do so now before it's too late.